The leader who loses control in a crisis doesn't just lose the moment, they lose the trust of every person watching them. And people are always watching. In this video, you are going to discover exactly how the most composed leaders in the world manage to stay steady when everything around them is falling apart. By the time we're done, you'll have a framework you can use immediately. But first, there's one thing about staying calm that almost no one talks about, and it changes everything. Most people think staying calm under pressure is a personality trait. You either have it or you don't. Some people are just wired that way, cool, collected, unshakable. But that belief is the very thing keeping you stuck. Because the leader you admire most weren't born calm. They trained for it. And the moment you understand what that training actually looks like, your entire relationship with pressure will shift. Here's what nobody tells you. Pressure doesn't reveal weakness. It reveals identity. When the deadline moves up, when the team is panicking, when the plan falls apart at 11 p.m., before a major presentation in that exact moment, your nervous system is broadcasting to everyone around you who you really are as a leader. That's not a comfortable thought, but it's the most important one in this entire conversation. Think about the last time you were under real pressure, not the manageable kind, the kind that makes your chest tight, your thoughts scatter, and your words come out sharper than you intended. What happened to the people around you? They read you. They calibrated their own fear based on yours. This is the hidden cost of losing composure that most leadership books completely ignore. Your anxiety is contagious, and so is your calm. The emotional core underneath this challenge isn't really about pressure at all. It's about fear, specifically the fear of being exposed. The fear that if things go wrong and you visibly fall apart, people will see that you don't have all the answers, that you're not as capable as they thought, that you're not enough. And that fear, quiet, persistent, deeply personal, is what causes more leadership failures than any lack of skill or strategy ever could. So what do the calmest leaders actually do differently? It starts long before the crisis hits. Most people try to manage pressure in the moment. Composed leaders manage it in advance. They build what you might call an internal architecture, a set of mental habits and psychological anchors that activate automatically when the environment turns hostile. This is not about suppressing emotion. It's about creating a gap between the stimulus and your response, and choosing what lives in that gap. The first pillar of that architecture is physical, and it's almost embarrassingly simple. Your breath controls your brain. When pressure spikes, your body shifts into a sympathetic state. Heart rate accelerates, cortisol floods your system, executive function drops. In that state, you cannot lead well. You cannot think clearly. You cannot communicate with precision. But a deliberate change in breathing, slow, controlled, intentional, sends a direct signal to your nervous system that the threat is manageable. The most disciplined leaders in high-stakes environments use this without anyone in the room ever noticing. And that invisibility is the point. But there's a second layer that matters even more, and most people never reach it. The second pillar is cognitive reframing. And this is where leadership composure separates from simple stress management. It's not enough to calm your body if your mind is still narrating a catastrophe. The story you tell yourself about what's happening is more powerful than what's actually happening. Leaders who stay calm under pressure have trained themselves to ask a different question in the middle of a chaos. Not why is this happening to me, but what does this moment require of me? That shift from victim to agent is the pivot point between panic and performance. Here's what it looks like in real time. The project hits a wall. The client is furious. The team is looking at you. In that moment, a leader operating from fear asks, how bad is this going to get? A leader operating from composure asks, what's the most important thing I can do in the next 10 minutes? Same situation, completely different trajectory. And the people around that second leader feel it instantly. Even if they can't name what they're feeling, they feel safe, they feel directed, they keep moving forward. The third pillar is the one that creates lasting composure, not just in a single crisis, but across an entire career. It's the practice of voluntary discomfort. The calmest leaders you'll ever meet are people who have all deliberately and repeatedly put themselves in uncomfortable situations. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they've learned that discomfort is trainable. Every time you do something hard before you have to, you expand your threshold. You widen the window of what feels manageable. So when real pressure arrives, your nervous system doesn't recognize it as catastrophic because you've already been somewhere harder. This is the part that most people skipped. They wait for the pressure to arrive and then try to perform. But composure is not a reaction, it's discipline. It's built quietly, consistently, in the moments when no one is watching. So that when everyone is watching, you've already ready. Now, here's the thing we started with, the part that changes everything and that almost no one talks about. Staying calm under pressure isn't ultimately about you. It's about what your calm makes possible for others. When you hold steady, you give the people around you permission to think clearly. You slow the room down. You create the conditions for good decisions to get made. Your composure is not a personal achievement, it's a leadership gift. And the moment you understand that, the motivation to develop it stops being about protecting your image and it starts being about serving your people. The leaders who last, the one who are remembered, who build teams that perform under fire, who navigate uncertainty without losing the trust they've spent years earning, they all share one thing. Not brilliance, not luck, not perfect strategy. They share the practice, deliberate, trained ability to stay present when everything is pulling them toward panic. So pressure will always come, always. The question is never whether you'll face it. The question is who you will be when you do. Build a calm before the storm. Train the quiet moments. Breathe before you speak. Refrain before you react. Choose discomfort before it chooses you. And remember, your team doesn't need you to be fearless. They need you to be steady. That steadiness is yours to build, starting now.